Hari Om to all. Namaste. Welcome to our Sunday Prakarana Grantha. Today we're going to continue with our Sukshma Sharira. So our subtle body, let us understand it more, and hopefully we'll reach the causal body as well. So you will see yourselves in a different light after these classes, not just the physical body that you reside in. So first, let us start with the opening prayers and the invocatory verses of Tattvabodha and the Vivekachudamani. Hari Om. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Dayakaram Dayakaram Dantam Dharma Pravartakam Pranamami Dayanandam Madacharya Varam Param. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Vasudevendra Yogindram Natva Jnanapradam Gurum Mumukshunam Hitarthaya Tattvabodho Bhidiyate. Sarva Vedānta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham. So we were seeing the Sukshma Sharira and the various components. So this is a model given in Tattvabodha. There are various models of the Sukshma Sharira. One is a 17-component model, another one 19-component model, and the extra two being the Chittam and Ahankara, which are faculty of thinking. So Chittam is the memory capacity, Ahankara is the egoic sense of identity that is added in other texts. Here we only have the Manaha and the Buddhi aspect in Tattvabodha. And we also saw that the Sukshma Sharira has the powers behind the pranas, the powers behind the jnānendriyas, which are the organs of knowledge, the sense organs, sense perceptions. So all of the places, we have the ears, the eyes, they're the actual location for the sense power to work. They are only locations, and even if the location, if the power is not there, the location can still continue. That's why, when you go deaf, as I said, your ear doesn't drop off when you go deaf. You lose the power of hearing, which is in sukshma, but the location still continues. So blindness in the same way, power is missing, but the eyes still remain in their place. So the power we saw is in the sukshma shariram, and that is important to understand, not just with the sense perception, but with our organs of action. The power is in the sukshma. So sukshma becomes very important. And this, this powers, here we're going to, the Tattvabodha is going to discuss more. The powers are given certain divinities, presiding deities. So it's a very beautiful way of connecting the individual to the total. You see in the, Shastra, always there is a connection between individual to total. There's never a time you're alienated, you're by yourself, because on all levels we are always connected. So here, the rishis have shown the pañca mahabhutani, which is the five the five what do you call them? The five elements. Pancha mahabhutani, the five subtle elements, are connected to the five sense perceptions, and they're also connected to the five organs of actions. So this we call Adi Bhautika. So the Pancha Mahabhutani, the elements, are called Adi Bhautika. Adi Bhautika is connected to Adhyatmika. Adhyatmika means individual. So the world, Adi Bhautika means elements and elementals are related to me, Adhyatmika, whatever is in me, the organs, the power of the organs of perception and organs of action. How are they related to me? Through Adi Devika. This is the beauty of it. Adi Devika is the connection between the world and myself. And this Adi Devika means that there are powers, these devatas, there are functionaries that are responsible for my eyes to function properly, for my ears to function properly, for all my senses to function properly, for my organs of action to function properly. These are called the devatas. We're going to see each sense power has a presiding deity. So in fact, if you have a weak sense power, if you're weak in one sense power, it is maintained in the tradition that if you pray to that particular deity, that devata, that increases the power of the sense. Like suppose eyes are weak. If your eyes are weak, I'm just giving you an example. We're going to see what the Tattvabodha unfolds. But presiding deity of the eyes is who? Aditya Bhagavan, Surya Bhagavan, the sun, because he is the Lord, he is responsible for bringing form and light into our lives. Otherwise, nothing else can bring form and light. My nose cannot bring name and form and light into the life. It is only the eyes that are blessed by Surya Bhagavan that bring form, name, and function, light into our minds to see the whole Jagat. So when my eyes are weak, it is said that chanting Aditya Hridayam, certain shlokas and stotras connected to Surya Devata will actually help improve my eyesight or have an effect on the eyes. Only we can try and test. Everyone has to try and test, but you're going to see which presiding deity is over which organ. So before that, there is a very beautiful progression. You can see the connection. There is a gradation of this five elements. The five elements, how are they connected to the powers of perception? So I said there is a connection of the five elements with the powers of perception. And how is it connected? So first of all, what are the five elements? Akashaha, which is space or ether. Vāyuḥ, the air. Agnihi, fire. Apaha, water. And Prithivi, the earth. And all elements have certain qualities which are linked to them. And these go to make the sense organs experience in a certain way. So in space is very much connected to sound. They say, sound travels through space, right? So space is connected to sound. Air is connected to touch. Fire is connected to color and form. Water is connected to taste. And earth is connected to the sense of smell. And it is very interesting to see this formula, because you see, one organ of perception is grosser than the other. What does it mean, gross? As I said, when we talk about gross, it means that it is less pervasive. So in the Shastra, when we talk about gross and subtle, the more subtle something is, the more pervasive it is. So what is the most subtle element? The most subtle element is akasha, which is space, ether. So it's very interesting that each, element has its quality, and it lends quality to the following element, except akasha, because akasha is the subtlest of the elements. Akasha is not available for any sense power except hearing. Okay, so hearing, it is connected to our sense of hearing, because you can't taste space, you can't smell space, you can't hear, you can't see space. So it is not available for any other sense power except our ears. And so sound, sound travels through ether, through space. So akasha is connected to sound. So the next element that is born is vāyuḥ. Vāyuḥ is air. And as I said, what is connected to air? Sense of touch. So skin and air are connected, sense of touch. And it's very interesting that as the grosser the element gets, the more properties it has. So grossness is also measured in terms of how many properties the element has. So akasha only has sound, whereas vayu has touch, and it borrows sound from akasha. So it has touch and sound. Why do we say that? Because vayu can be heard as well. You can hear the wind, right? When there's a very blustery breeze or blustery gale, you can hear the wind whistling through the trees. So it is available. You can feel the wind on your skin. You can feel when we do the meditation, prana vikshana, in the meditation at the beginning, you can feel the air in the nostrils. So we focus on what? The sense of touch to understand air. So air becomes the next grossest element connected to, it has two qualities now, sound and touch. Shabda and sparsha, we say in Sanskrit. So if it has two properties, one borrowed from akasha and one its own quality, and so it is available for two sense organs. Look how beautifully it's connected. It is available for ears, it is available for skin. Akasha is not available for skin. So touch associated with skin, touch and vayu also the ears. So you can hear and you can feel it. The third element, which comes, after air, is what? Is Agni. Agni is the third element, and it is the element that introduces now some other quality of itself. What does air bring in? What does Agni bring in? It makes the formless Lord into form now. Agni is the one which is available for sight, the first element available for sight. So now you can see it borrows two properties from previous elements. It borrows sound. You can hear the fire, right? You can hear the fire crackling. It borrows sound from akasha. It borrows touch. You can feel fire. If you want to touch it, you get burnt. So you can touch fire as well. It is available for skin. It is available for touch. But now, what sense organ is it available for? It has its own connection, which is eyes. So eyes come into the picture. So three sense organs now, Agni has access, have access to Agni. The ears have access to Agni, the skin has access to Agni, and also the eyes have access to Agni. So we call it grosser than the other two. You can see this is called grossification of elements. Beautifully, they've connected it. It has more properties, borrows two properties from previous elements, and it adds its own property. So here, Agni becomes the third element, and the fourth element is apaha, which is water. Water becomes the next grossest, right? So water has borrowed, you see, what are the previous elements? You can hear water. It borrows sound from akasha. You can feel water. It borrows from vāyuḥ, the property of touch. And you can see water. It borrows the property of sight from Agni. And what is its extra property it adds? You can taste water. So water, that's why saliva, every liquid, you can taste water. So it has its own property, which is taste, plus the properties of the other elements. So it becomes grosser than the other elements. 4 properties it has. 4 properties means it is available for 4 organs of perception now. So it is available for the ears, it is available for the skin, available for the eyes, and available for the tongue. So tongue anyway is connected to touch, but tongue has taste. So water is considered the property, water, the element responsible for taste. Actually, when you have pure water, it is odorless and it is tasteless. It is because other things are mixed with water, it gets taste. So pure water, when you have it, is tasteless. So taste, now 4 properties water has. And the grossest of all elements now is called Prithvi, which is earth. So what sense organ is missing now? You can't smell water because it's odorless, right? So here, Prithvi introduced the smell, sense of smell. How beautifully it is. It's the grossest of all elements. So all 5 qualities of the other elements are in earth. It is accessible to the ears, it is accessible to the skin, accessible to the eyes, accessible to the tongue, and also now extra the nose. So you can smell the earth as well, right? So this is how, the sense organs are linked to the elements. The rishis have seen the sense organs linked to the elements, and we'll see now these sense organs are linked by what? They're linked by power. The power that links is Ishvara. Ishvara is the main order. It is the one order that pervades the universe. But on each level, Ishvara has his heads of department. So each devata functionary, which is responsible for a certain organ functioning, is called a devata from a certain standpoint. And what is devata? Devata means intelligence, presiding deity of the natural orders, the natural laws which govern me as well. The same laws that govern the elements govern me inside. How beautiful is that? So we are not separate from nature. In fact, the same laws are in me as well. So the devatas are actually intelligence. They are the knowledge behind how my sense powers function. So here we see now the connection between the adhyatma, as I said, adhyatmika, which is the individual, the adibhautika, the world, and adidevika, the Lord. The individual, the world, and Bhagavan are linked, a Lord are linked on all levels, all the time we're linked. So Adhyatmika is centered on me. Adhyatmika, Adideva means pertaining to all the laws in nature, which is Ishvara, and Adibhautika is pertaining to the elements, which is a 5-fold Jagat made of elements and elementals. So this is how individual and total, the Shastra keeps linking on all levels as well. So now we see the powers, different presiding deities of each of the sense organs. And here in Tattvabodha, we see śrotrasya digdevatā. If you look at the verse there, śrotrasya digdevatā, tvaco vāyuḥ, cakṣuṣaḥ sūryaḥ, rasanāyā varuṇaḥ, ghrāṇasya aśvinau iti jñānendriyadevatāḥ. These are the devatas for the sense organs, for the organs of knowledge, jñānendriya. So what are the particular devatas? So we saw that when I'm functioning in the world, it is not my body actually that's responding. The stula shariram has no sentience by itself. We know that because when the sukshma leaves the stula, it is good as corpse. We can bury it, we can burn it, we can throw it in the trash, we can do anything with it, right? It is as good as the elements as well. Then what is responding to the external world? It is the powers. My powers in my sukshma is sentience, sentient power. I'm a sentient conscious being because of sukshma sharira. The Sukshma Sharira we saw has the ability to reflect, to manifest consciousness and respond to the external world. And this ability to respond is it because of me? No. See, we don't even think about this. We think I do everything. This response to the external world is because of the blessing of devatas. Because of the blessing of these devatas, the functionaries that preside over the the whole stula shariram, the sukshma shariram, am I able to respond to the external world. This ego has nothing to do with it at all. It is pure blessing. I am moving, walking, talking, responding, reacting, acting. Anything I do in the external world is because of pure blessing alone. And the Shastra reminds us of this again and again so that we can feel grateful because everything functions in order. Everything functions in accordance to law. You study medicine, you know a little bit. You see, we have so many specialities of medicine, right? Even that shows what? That each organ has certain laws that function, and doctors, physicians study those laws to understand how the organs function. So, very beautifully, we say that these functionaries are devatas. The law of hearing is governed by digdevatā, the Lord of directions. How beautiful. You see, the digdevatā is connected to space, and we saw that hearing is connected to space, sound, right? So, who is given the presiding deityship of the hearing? Digdevatas, the lords of the directions, because hearing sound travels in space, sound travels to us from all directions. So if we have any issues with our hearing, there must be some digdevatā mantras we have to find, but the digdevatas are responsible for my good hearing. We should invoke the digdevatas for our good hearing. So if hearing starts going, I think I may need that soon because my hearing is weak. So I will try. And very beautifully, that deity is connected to hearing. Now, who is the law of touch? Law of touch is Vayu Bhagavan. He is called Vayu. Vayu is also called air, but the very deity is also called Vayu. Vayu is the lord of wind. He is the presiding deity of wind. All the wind, right? All the air. Any air, you say Vayu Bhagavan. Can be gale force wind. It can be a very nice breeze. But he is the lord of air. He is the lord of wind. So that's why we say, prana. Prana are the different vayus that are circulating in the body, the different, wind deities that circulate within the body. So this is intelligence behind my breathing is Vayu Bhagavan. Because of Vayu Bhagavan's blessing, I'm able to breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Because of Vayu Bhagavan's blessing, the body is circulating, with this air. This air is the prana, is actually giving strength and life because of Vayu Bhagavan's blessing. Very beautiful, actually, to see these connections. And law of sight, as I said, who is my presiding deity? Who is resident of my eyes? I should say that. I am not residing in my eyes. I have a presiding deity of my eyes is Surya. Tattvabodha says Surya Bhagavan, the Lord Sun, because he is the one who provides light for the whole Jagat. He lights up our life here on the Jagat. Without Surya Bhagavan, can we have food? Can we have anything? We cannot even do function. We cannot transact in the world without light. It is sunlight that provides everything. So as I said, if you have problems with your eyes, Gayatri Mantra, the Aditya Hridayam, anything that invokes the sun deity's grace is very good for eyesight. They say, this is tradition saying. Then the law of taste, as I said, what is taste governed by? Water. So sight governed by sun, the taste is governed by water. And who is the Lord of water? Who is the Lord of rains? Who is the Lord of all the water bodies? His name is Varuna. So Tattvabodha says, Varuna is the presiding deity of my sense of taste. So if Varuna, Bhagwan's blessing is there, I will be able to enjoy good taste. Some people can't taste anything, you know. During COVID, people lost their sense of taste. That means Varuna Bhagwan had withdrawn his blessing from the tongue. So this is, you know, the blessing. Because of blessing only, I can function in those ways. So he is the Lord of the rains. He is the Lord of also the oceans. So Varuna is the Lord of my tongue. He's externally the Lord of rains and oceans. And internally on here, he's the Lord of my taste. And who is the Lord of smell? So now smell is connected to this. Smell is connected to earth. We saw that presiding deity of smell is whom? Presiding deity of smell is Ashwini twins, because we have two nostrils. So both, and it's very interesting. Ashwini twins are, if you see in our Puranas, the deities which are responsible for restoring the health to mortals. They're actually the divine physicians. So if you see Ashwini twins, why is it connected to breathing? Because without good breathing, without this prana entering, and this without this health, then I am not functioning properly in the world. So the Lord of my smell, sense of smell, and Ashwini twins means dual. So beautifully, it is for two nostrils, two entry points are there for air, and Ashwini twins, they are bring life into the physical body through air. So how you can see how the devatas, actually the rishis, have matched the devatas with the particular sense power and the sense organ as well. And these are the heads of department who have been invested with the power. Ishvara has invested the power. So it is seen, it is just like seeing, you know, Ishvara from different standpoints. So, you know, Swami Dayananda used to say, to invoke the whole, you don't need to shake the person, right? If I want to get somebody's attention, I don't have to shake the whole person. I just have to pull the little finger and the person will turn around. So very beautifully, the devatas are like pulling little finger. If I want to invoke the whole, I can invoke the whole through one devata. So this is the idea here, that we are not inert beings, we are conscious beings, and our whole system is being governed by blessing alone, the blessing of these gods of nature. And this is, you know, very beautiful to see, because once you imbibe this as well, once you see yourself, you will perceive everything external and internal very differently, because we think we're only this name and form and function. But when you understand really the depth of what the Shastra is trying to communicate, you can really see that everything functions because of blessing alone. And here there is a very nice story that comes in Upanishads to talk about that. I've said this story before, but it's good to remember at this time. So there are all these gods, especially Agni, Vayu, and Indra. Indra is the lord of all the devatas, right? So they all they were always fighting with the asuras, with the demons. And usually, you know, one side or the other used to win. This time they won the war. So all the devatas, they were in their swarga or in their place, and they had a huge party, you know. And in this party, what was this party? It was a self-congratulatory party where they were patting each other on the back, saying, "Well done, you did the best. Vayu, you were fantastic in the battle. You won. Agni, you were great." So they were all congratulating each other. And I did it. This abhimana started developing on all the devatas, right? So this shows that even behind the devatas, there is another power invested for the devatas. So Ishvara, who was observing this, what did he do? He said, I want to teach these devatas a lesson. So you can imagine, if human beings have egos, devatas have huge egos as well. So he said, I'm going to teach these devatas a lesson. Who is investing the devatas with their power? So he decided to manifest in the party that they're having, to congratulate themselves, in the form of a yaksha, so a column of light. He manifests in the party in a column of light. Suddenly they all turn and they wonder, who is this? Nobody knows, what this being is. So Indra, being the god of gods, asks Agni, go and find out who this being is. So Agni is, they're all like, they're walking, like they won the war, very, very proud. Agni goes up to that column of light and he sees this beautiful shining form. And before he could open his mouth, the form says, who are you? So that was a big, big shock for him, because, I am so and so. How come, this person doesn't know who I am? Don't you know I'm the god of fire? So actually, he lists a whole load of things. I can burn this, I can do that, I have done this. He gives a big biodata to that column. I am Agni, very proud. So this column of, this being in the column of light, what does it do? Yaksha, dry blade of grass, okay, provides a dry blade of grass and says, puts it on the ground and says, okay, let us see your power then. You burn this dry blade of grass. So what does Agni do? He tries everything. All his flames, everything, huge conflagration of fire. He's trying everything to burn that dry blade of grass, and it doesn't even move. So he is very shocked, but he realizes that he cannot do it. And this yaksha also does not give, any name. He doesn't even explain who he is or what it is. So Agni goes back to the gods, to the party, with his head a bit lower. And Indra asks, so could you find out who this yaksha is, what this column of light is? He said, no, I could not find out. He doesn't tell everything that happened because he doesn't want to be embarrassed. So you can see he doesn't tell the whole story. So then Indra says to Vayu, you go and find out who this yaksha is. So the Lord of Wind, he is also powerful. He goes. Same thing happens. As soon as he approaches that yaksha, then he's asked, who are you? Before he could open his mouth. First ego blow, right? Everybody should know me. I'm Vayu. I'm the god of wind. But obviously, this person does not know. So he also rattles off a big thing. I can, blow down trees. I can create hurricanes. I can do this. I can do that. All this. Same thing happens. And he comes back. He cannot blow that blade of grass. So he comes back very disappointed back to the gods. And Indra asks, could you find out who this yaksha is, this being is? He said, no, I could not find out. And he doesn't say anything about the rest of the story because he's embarrassed. So this is how the story in Kenopanishad goes. And finally, Indra himself says, okay, I will go. And when Indra approaches, that being disappears. So, even big ego blow, he's the Lord of gods, and this being, as soon as the Lord of the Devatas approaches, that being disappears. So all of this is to show what? But Indra understands there that there is a power behind. Indra understands that, and Indra actually stays there, waits prayerfully. And goddess Uma manifests there. And Uma teaches him this Brahma Vidya, this self-knowledge, because she recognizes his qualifications, his humility to receive the knowledge. So this is to show, the story is to show that even the gods are invested with their powers by that Ishvara. So very beautifully, this is how we are connected. In the next part of Tattvabodha, now the organs of actions are brought in and the presiding deities of the organs of action. So here we see Vak, Pani, Pada, Payu, Pastaniti, Panchakarmendriyāṇi, Vacho Devata Vahnihi, Hastayor Indraha, Padayor Vishnuhu, Payor Mrityuhu, Upastasya Prajapatihi, Iti Karmendriyadevatāḥ. So karmendriya are the organs of actions. These are the output organs. So the jnanendriyas are the input organs, and how I react to the jnanendriya, what I do with the data, are the output organs, the organs of action. Now he brings in the presiding deities of the organs of action. So the first karmendriya is the tongue, vak. So vacho devata, who is the presiding deity of the tongue? The presiding deity of my speech is Agnihi, Vakhnihi. It says Vakhnihi is another name for Agni, for fire. Very interesting because, we say, harsh words, things like this. Words have a fiery, there's a fiery speech somebody gives, right? You don't say a watery speech. You actually say fiery speech. See, even that we have it in English, right? You don't see he gave an airy speech. Why is fire connected with speech? Fiery speech, because fire is the presiding deity of tongue. And your words can also burn. So Agni is the intelligence behind your speaking. That's why they say, if you want good speech, and this is also, people, many of the Brahmanas who perform these Vedic rituals and all of that, they believe in this. And you see, that's why they have, quite plump sometimes. You see them with big stomachs and everything. Why? Because they feed the Agni in the fire on the tongue with what? Ghee. So ghee is actually conducive to good speech. So 1 spoon of ghee a day, you will start speaking, become a great orator. Keep drinking ghee. May not help your cholesterol levels, but it will help your speech at least. So ghee, very nice. Vacho devata vahnihi. So he becomes the presiding deity of your tongue. Brings light to your talk. Become some kind of intention to your words, your sankalpa. So very beautiful. Agnihi Vaknihi. Now, who is the presiding deity of your hands? The next organs of action are the hands. Hastayor Indraha. Lord Indra is the presiding deity of hands. And what is Indra connected to? Indra is connected to strength. You see, he is connected to power, strength, being the Lord of all devatas. Without hands are very important organs of action. We need our hands to do so many things in life, right? So he is the one giving strength to the hands to function. So wherever, the hand, you feel weakness in your hand, or you feel some kind of paralysis or something. In fact, I think over 70% of the mantras in the Rig Veda, which was the first text to come into existence, was for Lord Indra. Indra was the main deity of Vedic times, actually, more than, his worship more than any other deity. So that is because of strength. We need strength to function in this Jagat. So Hastayor Indraha. And Padayor, the next organs of action are the feet. Who is the presiding deity of feet? Presiding deity of feet is Vishnu. This is very interesting. Why is Vishnu connected to feet? I've said this before, right? Vishnu, we know, Vishnu is the sustainer. He is the one who preserves the universe. He's the one who sustains this universe. Why is he connected to feet? So there is an avatar. He took many avatars, and one of the avatars, he came down as a dwarf, Vamana avatar, which is celebrated as Onam in Kerala. You see, in Kerala they celebrate this coming of, and he came down. Why? Because usually the Lord takes avatars, divine incarnations, when the world needs help. So the world needed help at that time because Bali, Emperor Bali, who was an Asura, had taken over all the three worlds. He became too powerful. So again, the gods go to Vishnu, says, please incarnate and destroy this person because we want to be rulers. See, they always want to be rulers. So here, Vamana Avatara comes. Then Emperor Bali, he goes up to Emperor Bali, very short. Vamana Avatara is dwarf Avatara. And he goes to Emperor Bali and he asks, Emperor Bali asks, because whenever a guest comes, in fact, he was considered a very good Asura in that way, very good ruler. But, he asks, what do you want? So this dwarf says, I would like 3 pieces of land, 3 steps of land. And what does he do? He says, of course, they all laugh. Everybody in the court starts laughing. This tiny dwarf wants just 3 steps of land. So, of course, the emperor said, take it, 3 steps, nothing, go for it. So, what does he do? As soon as he says yes, he increases in size, becomes cosmic form. And in 1 step, he covers the earth. 2nd step, he covers the next lokas. And all the other lokas he covers in the 2nd step. 3rd step, he had no place to put his step because everything was covered in 2 steps. So this emperor recognizes this Lord is great. This is no ordinary dwarf. This is an avatar, a divine incarnation. And what does he do? In all humility, he puts his head under the foot of Vamana Avatara, which is very symbolic because it is the surrender of the Ahankara. So Vamana Avatara puts his final step on the Ahankara, which is the greatest offering you can give to Bhagavan. I surrender my egoic sense of individuality at the feet of the Lord, the Supreme Intelligence. So this is why Vishnu is invoked in the feet. The power of locomotion, power to move is because of Vishnu blessing my feet. Amazing. He's there with me always. And Upastasya is the next organ of action. So organ of action is our, remember, output into the external world, how I deal with the external world. How else do I deal with the external world? Of course, through procreative organs. So upastasya are the procreative organs. Who better to preside over procreation than the creator himself, Prajapatihi. So Prajapatihi is another name for creator. He's the Lord of all beings, Lord, creative power, and he is the creative power that is in me. So this is all the devatas, Vaknihi, Vacho devata, Hassayor Indru, Padayo Vishnu. We have one more set of Karmendriya left, which are Payor Mrityuhu. Payor are the organs of evacuation. So we have the organs of procreation, but we also have organs of evacuation. And that includes kidneys, anything that helps us release unnecessary, unwanted things from the body. So that also requires a power, right? Sometimes when your kidneys are not functioning, you can't release, you have to have dialysis, all of that. So who is the presiding deity of evacuation from the body? So anything evacuation we give to Yama, Mrityu. Lord Yama, Mrityu is the presiding deity of evacuating anything from the body, all dead material. See that dead material coming out. And he also, so Payor Mrityu, he is the Lord of death because he clears everything. When he functions well, your account is also cleared as well. So all these are the devatas of all our bodies. The same devatas preside in the external world also. So here you can see there's a beautiful model in Tattvabodha to show our powers behind our functioning in the world. And the next part of Tattvabodha talks about very basically vacho viṣayaḥ bhāṣanam, what the object for the organs of action are. This is very basic. Vacho Vishaya Bhashanam means the object for the organ of speech is what? Is speaking, singing. You can do anything with speech, even yelling, screaming, all of this. This is the object for the vach, for the vak, organ of speech. Organ of uh, organ of hands, panayor vishaya, vastu grahāṇam is for grasping, also for dropping, all of this, using your hands for creative, anything creative. This is included under panayor vishaya. Padayor viṣayaḥ gamanam. So just telling the functions of the organs of action. So you walk, you run, you jump, all of this for feet. And the payor viṣayaḥ malatyagaha, getting out any dirt, anything waste from the body, is the function of the organs of excretion. And the organ finally of procreation, what is the Vishaya? What is the object? And this is very interesting. It is mentioned here. What is the object for the organ of procreation is Ananda, actually. It is as Ananda here. So there is a certain sukha we know in the organ of procreation. Otherwise, it will not happen. The populations will not increase in the world if there is not Ananda. So it is very objectively said in the scriptures. Rishis recognize that there is nothing wrong with Ananda because the procreative organs are designed to give Ananda. So here, upastasya vishaya Ananda. Very, very interesting section. So with that, we're going to leave our Sukshma Shariram. It is full and complete. Now you understand your subtle body with all the components, with all the presiding deities, everything, all the power is invested in the subtle body. The physical body is a mere reflection of the inner power that you have. You see, that is why we have all these mantras and stotras and shlokas. What for? It is to address the subtle body power. We are much more than we think we are. See, even in science, they say we only access 10% of our brain, right? There's a 90% we don't access. We have so much potential. And how do we tap the potential? In our Shastra, we call that potential tapping the potential of devatas. If you tap the devatas' grace, your potential inside increases. If you want stronger brain, if you want, we'll see presiding deities of mind as well. That's very interesting. If you want stronger hands, you invoke that devata. See for yourself the effect. If you want stronger sense of hearing, invoke that devata. You will increase that power in your subtle body, which affects the stula shariram. The thing is, in the world, we invest more importance to stula than subtle because people don't know about subtle. They don't even recognize the power is in the subtle. Even with a little inquiry, you can see the physical body has no power independently without something else. So our mantras and shlokas and all of this are to always address to the subtle. When you invoke the subtle, the gross also gains power. So this is why all of this has been brought in. The subtle body given a lot of importance in the Shastra and talked about quite a lot. Now the Tattvabodha, we will move on to the Karana Sharira, and also from Vivekachudamani, there are a couple of verses that talk about the causal body. So we have to understand causal and subtle are really not separate because causal is also subtle. Causal, even the word shows what? It is the cause for the other two bodies. Causal means the cause for your physical body and your subtle body. So it cannot be separate from them. It's not somewhere external. It is there with you. Causal body, very interesting. Causal body is going to be unfolded, and we are many times in our causal body. And the Vivekachudamani talks about one particular state where we're in a causal body, which is deep sleep state. and what actually happens in deep sleep when we go into causal form. Because when we're in deep sleep, we are actually in causal form. The physical body we're not aware of. We go to bed in a particular location. When we wake up in the morning, we could be somewhere else. We could be totally somewhere else. We're not even aware. So physical body is not there. Subtle body is also resolved because there is no thought in deep sleep state. So where do I go in deep sleep? This is the question. The rishis answer that, where do you go? That I thought, where do you go in deep sleep? So we'll see that next week. So Hari Om, and we will meet next time for the causal body. Hari Om. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayaः, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet, Asato Ma Sadgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate, Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Hari Om. Have a very good week and keep invoking all the devatas in your Sukshma Shariram. Hari Om.